Today we will have the first game of the NFL season, but we still need to look for those diamonds in the rough, those guys that we're going to pick up off waivers potentially 6 weeks down the road, during Halloween, during Thanksgiving. We're looking for that guy that's emerging after one of the starters gets hurt. Malik Washington, 6th round pick for the Miami Dolphins, is a player to pay attention to. A late rounder who was gaining steam during draft season, who was gaining steam during preseason training camp. A technical route runner who's very fluid, very productive out of college, is a player we got to pay attention to for the future, not the now, unless you're in a deeper league, but you know you're paying attention to him in Dynasty as well as a stash. But we're going to deep dive him today. We're going to look at the advanced metrics. We're going to look at what he did at college. We're going to look at what he did in high school. We're going to look at how he projects in the future with this offense. But before we do, we need to click that subscribe button right now because we're looking for the hidden gems every day. We're looking at the top guys on the waiver wire. We're doing deep dives on them. Sometimes we'll do the deep dive on the same player multiple weeks in a row as we figure them out. We're also doing deep dives on guys climbing the depth chart. Even when they're falling the depth chart, we're looking at them. On top of that, we're looking at the waiver wire almost every day during the week throughout the season. And then on top of that, we are helping you set your lineups with these videos by looking at the matchups. But Odell Beckham's on the pup. That's going to open up a few opportunities for him, allow him to get some breathing time on the field, and anybody's on the field with the Dolphins, they can get it any single week. We saw that last year, but he was not a big-time recruit. Coming out of high school, went to Northwestern. That's something to note when you look at the production here. However, we had a slow ramp up. Everything's slow at Northwestern, but we broke out at age 20, 2021. 578 yards there, catching 44 balls, and it just ramped up with Northwestern catching 65 balls, 694. But things really turned to a head. 2023, last year, catching 110 balls, 1,400 yards, 9 touchdowns, one of the most productive wide receivers in the country. 8.1 average depth of target last year, so we are also getting it downfield. His best year was 14 on average depth of target, low sample there on the targets, but chilling in the 9s, 8.9 average depth of target on his year, 3.15 yards per route ran also in 2023. So he was efficient, and Malik Washington went off in the Shrine Bowl. In that game, he blew up, and he killed everybody in practice. He meant business. His draft stock went up. He did not get a bid at the Senior Bowl. He went over there to the Shrine Bowl, and he went off. Go check out those highlights from practice there. And he just ate everybody alive. His draft stock went up. You look at his production, it's good. And then we got to the combine. Hit up the track. Looked good as well. 4.47, 40-yard dash at 191 pounds. Your size-adjusted speed score will be a little bit lower if you're under 200 pounds. But the burst score is solid. That means he can rocket off the line of scrimmage. He can also rise up at the catch point. Looking good. The big elephant in the room, Tyreek Hill, Jalen Waddle, all the targets are going to be funneled to them as it should. It should be funneled to them. However, we're not looking at Malik Washington as a talent to supplant these guys. We're looking at opportunities in this offense, things changing in the future just in case there's an injury or just in case they start using a third wide receiver here and there. Maybe he's getting like a 15 to 17% target share. And what if in those explosive games, he just blows up and you can use him as a matchup piece? You're looking at this offense, like I said, over 50% of the targets are going to Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle, almost 55%. That being said, there's not much left for anybody else in the passing game, especially when you're getting Devin Achin getting targets out of the backfield. The running backs are getting a little bit of work there. There's not much for any other wide receiver. But what I mentioned previous, if a wide receiver in this offense can supplant like a 15 to 17% target share, and this offense is in a good matchup, and he can get some underneath work, there could be some instances where he can score fantasy production. So in basic redraft leagues, you do not want this, and these videos ain't always for your traditional redraft leagues. What I would be looking at is potential DFS scenarios down the line, in a few months. Deep stash and dynasty. And then on top of that, traditional redraft, you're just watching the snaps, the routes, and you're watching the health of Tyreek Hill and Jalen Waddle on top of that, because you're going to need some dominance falls way for redraft production. For daily fantasy football, you need him to be on the field. You need him to get some opportunities. You need him to get enough targets. And then on top of that, you need to play the matchups correctly if Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill's there. But more for tournaments during those scenarios. We don't know right now. So he's way too deep for your traditional redraft league. Most of the people watching this, you don't need to pick him up. You don't need to pick him up. But you need to watch him. You need to watch the snaps. You need to watch the routes. Not just week 1, but like week 6, week 8, down the line. You need to watch the health of Jalen Waddle and Tyreek Hill. Well, you're going to hear about it nonstop in the media. But you got to look at these prospects who've done some things. These prospects who are climbing the ranks. He looked good at training camp. He looked good at preseason. DFS, when he starts making some hay there, running routes, and you're in those big tournaments, and you want to make a few contrarian lineups, that might be a guy to look at. Not right now, though, because you don't know. Not right now. Maybe I could be wrong on that, but I'd say not right now. But a player you may want to be looking at in the future. You may want to be, but you may not, because he is a late-round option. But everything about his production profile, what he's doing on the field, what he looked like during draft season, his ability to climb the depth chart already here in Miami, just looking good. There's some upside in the future. And of course, we're talking about these diamonds in the rough as we get deeper in the season. Make sure to hit that subscribe button on the way out. One thing for watching. Catch you on the next video.